Today we are going to discuss about byproducts. Now, as we had been discussing about joint product, this is also one which results as a result of our process, continuous process. But what we need to remember here is, in case of joint product, we said that they are identifiable. They have sizable value, they are identifiable, and they can be sold individually in the market. When we tell about byproducts, this is little different. They have comparatively low value, significantly low value, and they are of less importance than the main product. That is, if it is one product, we call the main product. If it is 2 or 3 products, we call that as joint products. They are comparatively lesser important than the main product. Say, for example, it is very easy for you to understand when we talk about oil. See, we might manufacture oil from coconut, and in the process, we will also get oil cake. Okay, in the process, we will also get oil cake, which is not so important as the main product called oil, and it is of lesser value, but still it has some value. That will be brought as byproduct of the oil refining process. Okay, see, coconut, when we are trying to manufacture it, if we can see that in that we will get one main product as coconut oil, and then along with that we will also get oil cake. So that is a good example of a byproduct. So oil cake is not so important, not so valuable as we call from the perspective of coconut oil, right? That's all about byproduct. So the keywords which you have to remember is, it is of lesser important, in the sense it is of lesser value, and also the market might be lesser important than the main product. And it is not mandatory that always these will carry some significant value in the market. Maybe it is used by the same industry for the production process. So, but still, it will be having some value, at least in the form of opportunity cost. Right. That's where we consider the concept of byproduct. Now, accounting for byproduct can be mainly classified into two. One is sales value method, which is a non-cost method where we consider the replacement cost or opportunity cost, like that. And the other one is cost method, which is quantitatively expressed, where the value of byproduct is quantitatively expressed. So there are two methods for accounting of byproduct. The first one is a non-monetary, non-cost method. You only look into a provision of an additional benefit. And the second is cost method, where it is valued. It is also considered at the time of cost computation. Right. Now let's understand this with one example. Of course, when we are talking about cost method, if we are putting the value for replacement or opportunity cost, that will be brought under cost method. If not, it will be brought under the first method, that is sales value method. And the second one is standard cost method, where it is assumed at the rate, the standard rate at which it is available in the market. Joint cost method, here we can see that it is relatively important. It carries significantly higher value, not so high as the main product, but significantly higher value. In that case, we will go with joint cost method, which is same as we do for the joint products. Okay, this first method, if at all, if we did not have this product, this byproduct, what would have been the amount which we spent for buying that? That will be replacement or opportunity cost method. In standard cost method, we consider the standard rate for accounting for byproduct. And joint product or joint cost method, here it is one and the same as a method which we follow for joint products. It's considered along with the total cost. It is also considered at the time of apportionment. Now let's look at, we are basically looking into market value or joint cost method when we are doing the exercise. See, in this particular exercise, we can find that Chemical X is the main product for Kerala Chemical Limited, and they have a byproduct which is named in this particular category as Y. And in this exercise, they say that the byproduct is also having a value once it is split off from the main product in the production process. So of course, then we will have to go with computation of the value of byproduct also. And then they have given the expenses, the joint expenses, as well as the separate expenses of X and Y for us to complete the process, cost computation process. We will come back to it. And they have also given the output of X as 142 tons and Y as 49 tons, and the selling price is averaged as 280 for Y. Assuming that profit on Y is estimated at 50% of the selling price, prepare an account showing cost of X per ton. Now, the question here is, if we really have to find out the cost of X, we will have to remove the joint cost of Y from here. Because in this case, they said Y is significantly important. It is having some value in the market. So definitely the cost of manufacturing will be clubbed together. And so if you really have to find out the value of X, the cost of X per ton, we will have to remove the cost of Y, which is byproduct in this case. So we are going to, it will be easy since they have given the profit percentage and the cost estimation base. It will be easy for us to go with the reverse method. Yesterday we were discussing the reverse method in case of joint product computation. That is, we start with the sales value, then we go to the profit, we reduce it to find out the cost of production. So that is a method which can be used in taking or considering the given information. So that's how we are going to do. So I think you got the context. Here we are given the two products, and in this case X is the main product and Y is the byproduct. And as per the question, Y is having significant value in the market. So we really have to go with computation of cost of Y before we go with periodic computation of X. And based on the nature of the question, it will be easy for us to go with the reverse cost method, which we have discussed in our yesterday's class. So let's see how it is being done. In this question, it is statement showing allocation of joint expense. So definitely first we will have to start from there, because if finally we have to understand the cost of production for chemical X, we have to remove the cost of production of Y, that is Y byproduct Y. So that is why we are starting using the reverse method. Now, I hope you remember the reverse method. In the reverse method, we started with the sales. And in the question, it is given that there are 49 tons of Y, which is having a value of rupees 280 per ton. So the sales value would be 49 into 280, which we have done here. 49 into 280, which will give us 13,720. And from that, what are we going to reduce is the profit, which is 50% of the sale price. This is already given in the question. The profit is, profit of Y is estimated to be 50% of the selling price. Definitely, if you reduce that from the profit from the sales, we will get cost of production. So what did we do is, we reduce 50% of sale price to get cost of production of Y, which is 6,860, right? So we arrived at cost of production of, as we say, Y. Now, as we did yesterday, here also we can see there is subsequent expenses of an X and Y. In yesterday's class, we said further processing expense. That is, after the product being manufactured, being split off from the main process, there requires some kind of processing in order to make it suitable to the market. So in this question also, we can see that there is some kind of such expenses which is given as separate expenses. It's understood, because if the joint expense is this, if they are given the expense separately for X and Y, it can be assumed that these are the expenses incurred after splitting off. Otherwise, it would have been together. They wanted some kind of processing. That is why these expenses have incurred. So we understand that there is some kind of subsequent expenses. We have totaled that. It's given in the question as 780, 2,642 and 544 in the form of material, labor and overhead respectively for Y. Here, for Y. So we are reducing that from from this in order to get the share of joint expense of Y. You remember the share of joint expense of Y is computed in the reverse order. We started from sales value, we reduced the profit, we arrived at total cost of production of Y. Now, as we know, the total cost of production of Y will be a total of joint production cost plus the other expenses that is being incurred after separation, that is further processing. So once we get the further processing expense, if we reduce that from the total cost, definitely we will get the share of Y in the joint expense. That's the logic here by going with the reversed method. I hope you understand. So once we get the share of Y in the joint production, next what we are going to do is we are going to prepare the byproduct account, that is Y's account. First we will go with byproduct Y's account, and then we will go with chemical main product, that is X. So first, as we know, joint expenses, which is already being brought from here, share of joint expense of Y, it will be 2,894, and other material expenses total, what we will get is total cost of production of Y, which is the sum total of this, and per unit, of course, we know that the number of units is 49. So if I divide 6,860 by 49, I should get per unit cost as 140. It's very simple. It's very direct once we compute the share of joint expense of Y. Now, the most important thing, what is being asked in our question is, we are asked to find out the chemical or the cost per unit of the main product, that is chemical X. Okay, for that we know that we have to take out the joint expense of Y in order to arrive total cost of production of X. That is why in the left hand side, as we normally do, we will put all the joint expenses. Yeah, we have only that in the question. We are not given with the separate expenses. This is further processing expense. But joint expense is given together. We have to apportion it. So for that purpose, what are we doing? We will put all the expense, all the joint expenses which are in the form of material, labor and overhead here. And then we add the subsequent expenses of chemical X. The subsequent expenses of chemical X, which is given here as 7,360, 7,680 and 1,500 for material, labor and overhead respectively. We will put it here and then we will get the total expense. Now I know that if I have to find out the cost of production of X, I have to reduce the joint expense or the share of joint expense of Y from that. So what do? I'm going to reduce it. The product Y expense, which I had already found out here, share of joint expense of Y, that is 2,894, is reduced, and the balancing figure is my cost of production of X. It's very simple. I total up all. When I reduce Y's share of joint expense, definitely what I'm getting is cost of production of X. And per unit, it is very simple for me to compute because I know that the number of units here in this case, it's already given in the question. It is 142 tons. So when I'm dividing 47,996 by this, that is by 142, I will get per unit cost is 338. That's how I know. I go with the computation, and here cost per ton of product Y, I already said how did they do that. That's nothing but 6,860 divided by 49. Same as the case here also, it is 47,996 divided by the total units, which is 142. I will get 338. So this is how we go with computation in case if the byproduct is of significantly higher value. We said there are basically three methods which will be used if cost computation is done. First one is the replacement method. That is, how much is the amount required for replacement if it is bought from outside, if this byproduct is procured from outside for the production process. Or second method is, it is based on the standard price which is available in the market. And the third one which we would be looking is, it is the price, as we did in yesterday's class, like how the reverse method for accounting for joint product. The same method we can do it here also. And that is what we did in this particular exercise, because it is mentioned that the byproduct here is having significant value. It is having high value. So we did with the joint product method. And in that, first we have to compute what is the share of Y in the joint expense when we are considering X and Y. We did that by doing the reverse way. So we started with the sales revenue. We computed the sales revenue. We reduced the profit from that. And what we get will be the cost of production. From that, what have we done is, we have reduced all other subsequent expenses to get or to arrive at the share of joint expense of Y. If we get that, it is very simple for us. We just have to reduce the share of joint expense of Y from the total cost of production of X to arrive at basic cost of production of X. Chemical X, the main product in this particular context. So that is what the first method which we did for computation of byproduct. I just summarize byproduct. There are basically these byproducts. The basic nature is, it is not of high value, it is not so important, but that is also a result of the production process. It is the result of the production process. And if the byproduct is of significant value, like more or less, maybe not up to the value of the main product, but if it is having a significant value, the treatment will be just as we go with for joint product. But if not, it will be just shown as an additional benefit in our profit and loss account. It will be credited in our profit and loss account. Definitely that will be indicated in the question. What is the kind of level of this byproduct in that particular example, right? Now, if you have any doubt, you can ask.